Hi, episode 3 of my video log about how to help the PGA professional become a better instructor and find a way to advance themselves a little bit faster through the complexities and all the information that's out there in terms of how to be a better teacher and golf coach. So in the first episode, I talked a little bit about where to go, what to do, and look at some the information out there and the seminars and the people to go and see. And I'm going to do a part 2 on that coming up tomorrow. The second episode had a little bit to do with what to do to maximize and optimize your OEM relationship. So when you get your staff package, what to do to be noticed and to do a little bit more and go above and beyond. And this one here is going to be about how to arrange your contract or your relationship with a golf club. So I'm in Ontario, Canada, and in Ontario, Canada, there's a lot of golf clubs that label their golf professionals as seasonal employees. Now, it makes kind of sense to call them seasonal because we've got a seasonal season, but seasonal in terms of the labor board means that they can work you up to 60 hours a week. Now, working for 60 hours a week at a salary of about $650 or $700 means you're going to be making less than minimum wage. So what I wanted to do today was to give you some tools and some things to go in and speak with your supervisor, your director of golf, head pro, whoever it may be, so that you can get the best relationship and the best contract, the best situation for you. So first of all, recognize that if you're offered a seasonal contract, a seasonal salaried contract, please be aware that's 60 hours a week. So do the math and don't accept anything less than what's $15 an hour, which is the minimum wage. That runs about $900 a week. That's going to be more than the average golf pro makes here in the city of Toronto. But just to keep you posted on the ideas, please let your supervisor know that that's the minimum that you're going to accept. The next thing to take a look at is those that don't offer seasonal contracts. Try to find a way to get a year-round contract, something that extends over the 12 months so you don't get laid off in the winter season for November, December, January, and February, where it might be hard to find a short-term fill-in job so that you can sustain yourself for the entire year, because Toronto's an expensive city to live in. So are Vancouver and Calgary and Montreal. These are expensive cities to live in. So we want to make sure that, as a golf professional, that you're actually being given a professional contract and a professional job, because we've got dues of about $1,100 a year. You've got seminars through the PGA that you have to take that run between $700 and $5,000. So you need to be able to support those things, support them, because they're the ones that are offering you a role or a membership into their association. But you've got to be able to give your supervisor a list of added value things that you're able to do. So set yourself, first of all, going back to number 2, video vlog 2, set yourself a club sales goal. Now, if you're at a private club, there's a good chance that your head professional owns the shop, so he's going to be well incented to give you a bonus structure or a more salary if you're able to provide more club sales, maybe more fittings, and sell product, because the more product you sell, the better it is and the easier it is to ask for more money as a salary. Some golf courses are going to promise, an additional bump up when it comes to lessons and camps, but, those things can be variable. What if the camp doesn't sell out? What if you're working 60 hours a week and you don't have the opportunity to teach or the energy to teach, or you're new to the business and you don't quite have the information that some of the older, more veteran pros have, so they get all the lessons? So when it comes to the bonus structure of golf lessons, promised golf lessons, make sure that there's actually something promised there, like a minimum standard. I'm going to promise you a minimum of this amount, and if we don't get it, we're going to find a way to top you up. That's a big thing to look at. So when you're looking at those contracts, try and find something that's going to be a year-round thing. And if not, make sure that your seasonal employment isn't labeled as a seasonal employee, because that really puts a burden on your number of hours, the energy that you have. And if you don't have the energy and when you go home at night that it's not financially beneficial to be a golf professional at the situation that you're in, you're not going to have the energy, you're not going to have the member go-get, so to say, to provide an experience and always show up with a smile on your face. Because there's always going to be those days like you've got a member guest or you have to stay an hour later or even a couple hours later if you're going to stay for dinner. These things add up to your time, but it also diminishes your energy and like I said, your go-get attitude to get more. The season's very short, we work very long hours, and some people that work the longest hours, being your head professional, are going to be making somewhere over $200,000 a year. They're incented to be there 6.5 or 7 days a week, maybe from open to close, depending on the situation the head pro is in. So you want to make sure that you're incented and you're paid appropriately for those situations. Now, if you're given a position at some of at a club where you're offered a 40 or 44 hour a week role, that's fantastic. And if you're able to also include playing with the members in that time as well, now you're really talking. Now that's something that's great for you. And your head pro, most likely, if they're giving you an opportunity to work 40 or 44 hours a week, plus a couple lessons, private lessons after hours, they understand the benefit and the need for you to have energy, but for you to come to work smiling and happy every day. Because I believe that some of the reasons why they say that, the golf members don't have the best experience, the member services isn't very good, or perhaps just the whole term that golf is dying, comes from the fact that our front-end workers are overloaded with work. They're overloaded with responsibility for what they're being paid for. And, I've been in situations where even on your day off, you get a text at 8 o'clock in the morning saying, don't forget to have all this stuff done for tomorrow. Well, that doesn't really mean that's a day off, now does it? So we want to make sure as golf professionals that we have a professional contract, because we can't call ourselves professionals if we're making less than the manager at the Wendy's around the corner. So ensure that your contract's in place. Provide an added value of what you can give. If you're a great player, that's an added value to your head pro. If you're a great fitter, another added value. If you're a good teacher, now we're really talking. You're bringing all the things to the table that a golf professional should have. You can learn the merchandising side of things. You can learn the back shop, what do we call it, scheduling and all that, and management. We can learn all that stuff within a couple months. It's really not all that hard. And when it comes to inventory control, there's most likely going to be someone that's going to be responsible for that, for the pro shop itself. But again, that's something that has a very small and short learning curve to it. The things that don't are teaching ability, fitting ability, playing ability, and your ability to go home and recharge so that you can come to work the next day as fresh and as happy as the first day of the season. So when it comes to your contract and comes to how it is that you set your relationship up, make sure that it's beneficial for you and your employer. And if the supervisor gives you a role, gives you an opportunity in a contract that doesn't quite meet your standards, don't worry about it. You can go find one somewhere else. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't let a golf course say, if you work here, you're really going to skyrocket your career. If that's the case, ask for the previous situations for people that have worked at that club that have moved on to bigger and better roles elsewhere. Because I'm a big believer that the number one thing that makes a good head golf professional is the number of people underneath him that he's moved on to bigger and better roles. If that golf professional hasn't moved anybody else on, then they're not really doing you a service. They're actually doing you a disservice. They want a body in shop rather than brains to help move on and grow the industry. So really be sure that you're bringing a lot to the table. Make sure that you can get the best contract that you can that gives you a chance to teach and play and do all the things that golf professionals should so that you can smile to your members. And your members don't see you at halfway through the season and go, wow, you're pretty exhausted, How many days in a row have you worked? 12? Those things definitely do happen. So try and find a way to set yourself up so that you're set up for success and you're not set up for failure. And that's one of the big things I go through in my PGA mentorship is I provide a contract from previous employees that I've worked with, previous pros in the business and in the industry that have set themselves up for success, that move on to better roles outside of the current club that they're at so that they can grow their knowledge, grow their experience, and potentially come back to that club as in a higher role as director of golf or maybe even a general manager one day. So don't put your eggs all in one basket. Don't let a club tell you that it's beneficial for you to work here because it's going to make your career that much better, because that's not the case. You need something right now short term. Early in your career, make sure you set yourself up. So your contract and your relationship with the club is very important. From the clubs around here, there's lots of different situations. There's private clubs that have seasonal employees. Some private clubs, have a great head professional in place that understand these 40, 44 hours a week as the maximum a person can really work. But then there's some clubs where the pros are unionized, which is even better. After a certain number of hours, you just go home. You're done for the day. If you want to add more onto that, no problem. That's up to you. That's completely your prerogative, especially if you're busy teaching or you're still a tournament player, which is a huge bonus to a club. The number of assistant pros nowadays, even directors of golf, that aren't tournament players, that aren't really solid golfers, it's few and far between. So I read a great line the other day that said a head pro needs to play like Jack Nicklaus, teach like Bush Harmon, merchandise a store like it's Holt Renfrew. That's great, but nowadays the playing ability has gone off the table and your teaching side of things has also gone off the table, which from my perspective as a full-time teacher, I don't mind that at all. I'd like the director of golf to be schmoozing with the members and providing awesome events and giving a pro shop that's absolutely perfect, and mentoring the staff. Mentor your staff in the ways of all the things that I've mentioned, and leave the teaching to a full-time teaching pro. Because nowadays there's so much information, golf lessons are getting very expensive. The teacher needs to be the expert, and you can't be an expert if you're spending 40 to 60 hours a week merchandising, selling carts, handing out receipts. Those don't work. So members and golfers have to recognize the difference between a full-time teaching pro who does this all the time and a shop pro who's still learning to figure out his way throughout the business. Whether he's going to stay in the pro shop, merge to something outside, or even get out of the pro shop in general and get into something more of a sales, whether it's selling clothes or shoes or all of the above, in a distributorship or a representative role. Those things are definitely coming about, where there are golf professionals now that don't work at a golf course that are actually doing much better than those that work at a golf course. I mean, I've looked at different things around different clubs, and sometimes the beverage cart driver person actually makes more money than some of the pros in the shop, which would blow people away when you really think about those numbers. But what does that say to your member? To the member that's at a private club or even a public club, where the people that are handing you over a sandwich and a beer are making more money than someone that you call a professional in your shop? Doesn't make much sense to me. So this mentoring program is all about providing you the best tools to go into to a golf club to make sure that you get the best arrangement for you, not for them. It's for you. So remember, when you're a golf pro first, and you work for the club second. Make sure that you're a professional in your duties. You make sure that you get the right situation so you can provide for your family. You can support the PGA with their dues, with their education program, and gives you some more money on the side in order to be better at being a golf pro. Whether it's taking lessons as an actual golfer, or going to supervise and taking seminars to be a better coach. These are the things that are going to excel your career and advance your career. Not merchandising, not selling more clothes. None of that stuff in the pro shop is going to advance you. So make sure that we understand these pieces, and you're going to have a much better opportunity to be successful as a PGA member.